Imagine waking up to a beautiful, peaceful morning, the kind of morning that makes you feel like everything is right in the world. But suddenly, your peace is shattered. You get a letter from your HOA, Homeowners Association, and inside there's a fine. Not for anything you did wrong, but for something as outrageous as hunting on your own land. You might think, how could they do that? Well, they did. And here's the twist. I didn't just accept it. I didn't back down. No, I took action. I didn't just fight the fine. I fought the system. I bought the land they used for hiking, the land they thought they controlled, and I shut it down forever. Stick around to find out how I flipped the script, took back control, and sent a powerful message to the HOA that they'll never forget. It all started one morning when I opened my mailbox expecting just another typical letter. But inside, there was something that would completely change my life. A letter from the HOA. You know the feeling when you see that official logo on the envelope and your stomach drops? Yeah, I had that feeling. I tore it open quickly, hoping it was just a regular notice, but what I found inside was anything but. It was a fine for hunting on my own land. I'm not talking about anything illegal. This wasn't a case of trespassing or breaking the law. No, this was the HOA telling me that I wasn't allowed to hunt on my own property because it violated their community guidelines. I couldn't believe it. How could they possibly think they had the right to fine me for hunting on land I owned? This was my property. I had every legal right to do whatever I wanted on it, and yet here they were, trying to control my every move. At first I thought about just paying the fine and moving on, letting it slide. But then I realized that wasn't going to work. They were trying to dictate what I could do on my land, and that was unacceptable. It wasn't just about hunting anymore. It was about my rights. It was about standing up for myself and my property. So, I read through the fine and their community guidelines again. There was no mention of hunting being prohibited, no rules against it. There wasn't anything that legally backed up their claim, and yet they still imposed this fine on me. That's when I decided enough was enough. I wasn't going to let this fly. I wasn't going to let the HOA control my life. They thought they could push me around, but I was going to stand my ground. It wasn't just about this fine. It was about showing them that they didn't have the power to dictate what I did with my own property. I wasn't going to just pay it and move on. I wasn't going to let them win. So I made a decision. I was going to fight back, but not in the way they expected. I wasn't going to just complain or argue with them. I was going to do something that would completely flip the tables. I was going to take action, and I was going to take control. After the fine arrived, I started to think. If they thought they could control my land with a fine, then they were in for a surprise. But I needed to make a statement, something that would make them realize they were messing with the wrong person. And that's when it hit me. The HOA didn't just control the area around me. They also controlled land that was being used for a hiking trail. That hiking trail ran right through an adjacent property, land that wasn't even theirs. But they used it to their advantage. They didn't own it, but they controlled it. They decided who could use it, who could hike, and who couldn't. They used it as a tool for their power trip, thinking they could control the flow of traffic in the neighborhood. That's when I had an idea. What if I could buy that land? What if I could take control of the very thing the HOA thought they had power over? If I owned that land, I would not only show them who was really in charge, but I'd also shut down the hiking trail they used to exert control. I spent days researching the ownership of the land, contacting landowners, and negotiating with real estate agents. After months of back and forth, paperwork, and negotiation, I finally did it. I bought the land, the very land the HOA thought they had control over, the land they had used to enforce their power in the neighborhood. It was now mine. I couldn't believe it. I had actually done it. I had outsmarted them. They thought they controlled me, but now I controlled the situation. But I wasn't done yet. I had taken the first step. Now, it was time to execute the next part of my plan. This was just the beginning. Now that I owned the land, it was time to make my move. But I didn't just want to own it. I didn't want to just sit back and let it be. No, I had a bigger goal. This was about sending a message to the HOA, a message that they would never forget. I was going to make sure they realized they couldn't control me, and more importantly, they couldn't control my land. So I made the ultimate decision. I was going to shut it down permanently. No more hiking. No more HOA-controlled land. I put up gates, signs, and barriers. I made sure that no one would ever step foot on that land again. The very thing they thought gave them power was now completely out of their hands. The HOA wasn't happy about it. They tried to fight back, but they were too late. The land was mine, and I was in control. They couldn't fine me for hunting anymore because they had no control over my property anymore. This wasn't just about winning a fight. This was about making a statement. It was about showing them that when they tried to control me, they only lost everything. I had taken back what was rightfully mine, and in doing so, I had taken back my power. I wasn't going to let anyone dictate how I lived my life, not the HOA, and not anyone else. And the HOA learned the hard way that sometimes power isn't about controlling others. It's about owning your own destiny. So, there you have it. How I stood up to the HOA, bought the land they thought they controlled, and shut it down forever. It wasn't just about the fine anymore. It was about showing that when someone tries to control you, you can fight back, in ways they never saw coming. If you've ever felt controlled or pushed around by others, this story is for you. It's about taking charge of your life, standing up for what's right, and taking back the power that belongs to you. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, share, and subscribe for more stories of power, control, and standing up for your rights. Let me know in the comments. What would you have done in my situation? Remember, no one has the right to control you. Take control, take action, and own your destiny. See you in the next video.